Okay, good morning. So very interesting seifim today. Shin Vav, Seif Vav. So Chefse Shemayim, we're talking about Chefse Shemayim, and we're going to talk about giving gifts on Shabbos, a very relevant issue. So Vav, Chefse Shemayim mutar ledaber b'hem. You're allowed to talk about chafetzim, matters which have a spiritual content, to do with more ruchnius. We'll see what that means in a minute. So you want to do the cheshbon, how much is a siyum going to cost? We're arranging some sort of shul matter. That's allowed. Tzedaka, and you're allowed also to dedicate some money to tzedaka, and to deal with communal matters, and to deal with the engagements of a child, of a young person, or to hire a Rabbi or a profession for your child. That's also considered a dvar mitzvah, which comes under Chefse Shemayim, even though these are sort of involve sometimes financial aspects, but these things are all considered mutar. It's just discussing whether, would you be able to learn with my son or something like that. Also, how much you're actually getting paid, that is not allowed. So it's talking about the general plan. Says the Ramah, that a person gets nali and he wants to make a mishaberach and to pledge money to tzedaka or to the chazan, whoever, to also b'Shabbos lifsek kama yitain. But it's also to specify exactly how much you want to give. However, the minhag is to be makel, and that's what we see in shuls all over the world, that people give money and they actually can specify the amounts. In some shuls they don't say pounds, and they say or whatever it is. Yeah, they have different ways of alluding to the amounts. The whole mutar lifsek tzedaka. The minhag is lahakel. Why? Because it's mutar to be posting money to tzedaka. That's considered chefse shemayim still. Okay, let's do the Mishnah Berurah on this. Chefse shemayim. Tichsivim toshiv mishabes raglecha mimtzei chefzecha. And the Chazal darshan v'darshu chafetzecha asur and chefse shemayim mutarin. So your own chafetzim, your own desires and needs, you shouldn't deal with that on Shabbos. But chefse shemayim, that's okay. So, for example, cheshbonus umutar lachshev mashetzorach l'sudas mitzvah, to calculate what you'll need for a sudas mitzvah, and to start talking a little bit about the finances and the arrangements. That's okay. V'lifsei tzedaka, says the Mishnah Berurah Chav Zayin, la'aniyim or lebeis hakneses, to pledge money to tzedaka, to the shul, or l'nadev eze chayfetz al beis hakneses, or to donate something to the shul. Gam kein nagin ha'olim lahakel. V'af agav domrin ein marichin dahainu. Even though really it says ein marich, and you can't pledge money to tzedaka, ve'in magdishin b'Shabbos, and you can't pledge things to the Beis Hamikdash, to make something hegdish to dedicate to the Beis Hamikdash or make it holy. V'chudis lekam b'sim shin lamates hanu dafka hegdish mizbeach or lebedek habayis. That's specifically those items, things that are going to the mizbeach or the bedek habayis. Avlegdashus did done mutar, but our hegdashus, as it were, giving money to the base to the shul or to give money to tzedaka, that's allowed. To ein shem hegdash alein elech chulin hein, because it's not real hegdash, it's really chulin. Umikol makom lechatchila nachan lizoher. However, it's still better if you can, because your magdash is a chayfetz you'll do it b'Shabbos, if you're dedicating, let's say, some oil to the oil lamps, or some candles, or some whiskey to the shul kiddush club, or maybe that's a bad example, or something else. Could go in Sefer Torah, Torah le Sefer Torah, or you want to dedicate a Sefer Torah or an Atorah for the Sefer Torah. Sheyagdishenu b'fiv me'erev Shabbos, that you should actually make that declaration on erev Shabbos. Afilu beinah levinasa, even to yourself. V'oz afilu mevia b'Shabbos the Beis HaKnesses, and then when you bring the Sefer Torah or the Atorah or whatever it is to shul, ein ele mefarsem hegdish me'erev Shabbos. You're only publicizing the hegdish which you actually did in erev Shabbos. The actual hegdish itself took place in erev Shabbos, and therefore that's okay. V'lifsek mos tzedaka v'lo chayfetz yodua, and to pledge money to tzedaka, but not to a specific cause or item. Mutzah afilu lechatchila b'Shabbos l'kula alma. That everyone agrees is okay. V'atam da'asa lahagdish mishum dahavi mekach memka. The whole reason why you can't pledge a specific item is because it looks like mekach memka. It looks like business. You're taking it from one rishus and you're giving it. And you're giving it to another rishus. And that's not really shaykh when it comes to money, only with items. V'uadin k'she'ena miyachit ha'chefetz b'Shabbos. And so too, if you don't designate the item on Shabbos, rak she'omes stam ani menader sefer Torah. For example, a person says, I'm dedicating a sefer Torah, I'm donating a sefer Torah, av sheyesh lebeisa, even though it's already in his house, mutu l'kulam, but that's okay. To adayin lo yotza mishusa shelo yiched dafka lezu. You're saying, I'm donating a sefer Torah. You're not saying specifically it's going to this cause, to this shul or something. Okay, another thing you're allowed to do is lefakech al iskei rabim. So as part of Chaftzei Chavotzecha, not Chaftzei Shemaim, you're allowed to be involved in Iskei Rabim, Layin V'la'achker, to look into something, to investigate something. The Tzorchei Rabim have a Tzorech Mitzvah, because this is all considered Tzorech Mitzvah, and therefore it's Chaftzei Shemaim. Umuta afilu leilech lebotzi tartiyos, sheniskantzim sham enam Yehudim, k'tei lefakech b'shvil Rabim, even to go into theaters, to where non-Jewish people are sitting, on Shabbos, if there's a particular communal cause, that would be allowed. For Kosva Apoiskim, the Deloihuta Amir Lein Yehudi Lansis Melacha, for Loishus Acher Bishvil Iskei Rabim, that you're not allowed to Amir La'akum to instruct a non-Jewish person to do Melacha, or even a Drabonon. Bishvil Iskei Rabim is not allowed. To Rak Pikuach V'his Askus B'dvarim B'lei Melacha, only doing things which do not involve Melacha. That the also b'tzarchi yochid mishum b'dabedava. That is not allowed because of a dabedava. However, zeh huta ledvar mitzvah letzarech rabim. But that's only true for dabedava for those things. But for letzarech rabim, ledvar mitzvah, that would be allowed. V'ayin lekam b'siman shin zayin siif hey ula el b'siman reish ayin vav siif beis bago. Okay. L'shat echatzinoik. So he says tzarech leim hatzinoikes, because that's the lashon of the Gemara. Or to sort of deal with your son's profession, because that's also considered the mitzvah, that if he hasn't got a job, then he may be involved in theft and fraudulent activities. So what you're allowed also to hire a tutor, a Rabbi, for your child to learn with him, but not to hazkir the schum. So you can talk generally, are you available on Mondays to learn with my son or something like that, but not to actually to fix a price. Kanal b'sif b'hagad, this is in Lamed Aleph, kadas hayesh eisrim sham, because remember we had yesterday two opinions, so this is according to the opinion which says it's also, one shouldn't fix the sum, even though it's l'dvar mitzvah, it's involving learning and things like that. It's better to avoid over here, like we said yesterday, to avoid it if possible. Kamo yitain shelo yom el yom estam emer bavuri mishaberach. You pledge the money in more general terms. Lifsek stock of afilu hachazan osher. Now, even if the chazan who you're giving money to is a wealthy person, since you're doing it in order that he can daven for the Omer, that's called a tzorech mitzvah. To announce money for certain mitzvahs is not allowed. And there are those who allow it. Because it's only talking about things which are going to be bought. So to say that I'm going to give, let's say, 10 bottles of whiskey for the shul, or I'm going to give pay the electricity bill, things like that, then ein limchos biyad on different minhagim. Okay, uknias.
If you don't say an amount, then it's probably okay.
Yeah. So that's exactly. Uknias mekomes beis hakneses v'chein knias esrogim, and buying things, buying seats in shul, or buying esrogim min alcohol acher gmar mitzvason. For example, they finish everyone's. You're going to buy the estrogim that were used for the mitzvah or whatever it is. Because once everyone used the estrog and you're going to pay $1 or something for everyone's estrog. That's there's no mitzvah purpose for that. When it comes to business, whether it's prepare, whether it's masira, which means you're handing something over, there's a form of a kinyan, is also because you might come to write it down. Again, mekach memka is a gezer, you might come to record it. Now, so too, caught in all of this is the prohibition to give a gift to your friend. Giving a gift on Shabbos is caught by mekach memka. So I'm giving my bottle of wine to another person. and then that's mekach memka because it's leaving my rishus and it's going to the other person's rishus. If this gift is letzorich Shabbos v'yontif, then it's mutter k'moshe of siman shin chof gimel siv zayin v'chein letzorich mitzvah. Okay, we'll come back to gifts in a second. V'chein letzorich mitzvah. V'chein also litzin mashkin lechaver. You can't give a security, a collateral to your friend. Elim keinu letzorich mitzvah letzorich Shabbos, unless there is a tzorich mitzvah letzorich Shabbos. That's the Magen Avraham b'shem hapoiskim. V'chasav ha'idul lefi zeh mashenagu litzin kelim b'matona lechosen haderish. The minhag was, I guess, in days of old, that when the chosen would give a drasha on Shabbos Afruf or Shabbos Shevrach, I'm not sure, and they would give him gifts on Shabbos, and that's not correct because it's caught by this. To say that you'll get $100 for that drasha, that's okay, given the biyad al-achsa, because it's retractable. Okay, so let's talk about gifts a little bit. Number one. So what do you do when you want to give a gift on Shabbos? You're invited for Shabbos lunch and you want to give a gift. What's the story? So look at 24. He says ve'etzel adov kosav b'shar shuvas mari asad sheyechaven hamakabel shel liskos matona ad motzei Shabbos. So that's one important thing. It happens quite often. Sometimes we have people come to us for Shabbos, guests, and we're on the Ar Sameach and the JLE hospitality thing, and then people come not from religious backgrounds necessarily, and they bring a gift. So one eitzah could be, he says over here, not to have in mind, not to be makabel. Thank you very much, and you put it down there, and you have in mind you're not going to be makabel this gift until Motzei Shabbos. That's number one. Number two is if he said in the Mishnah Berurah says. If it's letzorich mitzvah, letzorich Shabbos, that's okay. So if you're going to open the bottle of wine, and drink it, the Shabbos Suda, that's also okay. If they bring a bunch of flowers, or they put a bottle of wine or whatever it is, a box of chocolates, and you're going to use it on Shabbos, letzorich Shabbos, then that would be okay. And then the other eitzah is to make the kinyan before Shabbos. That means, let's say, for example, I'm coming to eat with you for Shabbos, and I want to give you a gift, and I didn't have a chance to bring it before Shabbos, so just before Shabbos, I make a kinyan, and I'm makna it. It's zochin le'adam shlei b'fonov. I help you acquire it before Shabbos, and I can give it to a third person, preferably someone who's not in your household, and you give it to them, and you say, can you please be koiner this on behalf of Eli, and then you who have been koiner it, this is yours now, and then on Shabbos I'm just giving you what's yours, so there's no kinyan. So again, when it comes to gifts on Shabbos, there are various eitzes. Number one, if you're receiving a gift, either have in mind not to be makabel it, not to be koiner it, number one. Number two, if there's a tzorich Shabbos for it, then that's okay, or a tzorich mitzvah. And number three, you can actually do it before Shabbos. Interestingly, when the rabbi gives sometimes in some shuls the siddur, the chumash to the mitzvah boy, either he'll make the kinyan before Shabbos, he'll give it to somebody else and say, this be koiner this on behalf of the mitzvah boy, or what you'll notice is they'll actually open it and read a pasuk or something and do something, and that way it's tzorich mitzvah. So those are the ways generally when it comes to gifts on Shabbos.
Let's